What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. Time for my updated New Year's 6 predictions as we head into Week 10. Actually, Week 10 is already underway as we head into Saturday of Week 10, and this is going to be a huge weekend in college football. I'm just looking at some of these games. I think there's potential to see four teams in the top 10 lose this weekend. We'll definitely see two teams because Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, those are games between top 10 teams. But I'm also looking at TCU possibly. Maybe they get upset. Clemson on the road at Notre Dame, maybe they get upset. I think we could see a crazy weekend. We'll see how it plays out. But again, these are my updated New Year's 6 predictions. I did my playoff predictions yesterday. If you missed that video, you can go back and check it out. I'll talk more about the playoff in that one and go all the way to the national championship. But quickly, we'll go through the playoff games. I have Georgia versus Ohio State. Georgia as the 1 seed. Ohio State is the 4. I am picking Clemson to lose a game. I think they lose somewhere along the way, and that knocks them out of the playoff. Ohio State loses a very close game to Michigan. They get in at number 4 as an at-large team. And, everyone keeps saying I hate Ohio State. Just because you pick a team to lose doesn't mean you hate that team. I have nothing against Ohio State. I've picked them to win a lot of big games in the past. And last year, I just saw what I saw from Ohio State is that they, and you look at that Michigan game, that style of football for Michigan just seemed to give them some trouble. And I just think Michigan's even better than they were last year. And that's why I think they're going to win that game. I just really think Michigan's good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this Michigan team. I think they're a team that can win the national championship this year. I think they're that good. Now, I think Ohio State can win the national championship too. It's just tough. I mean, you got a lot of great teams, and it's tough to pick who's going to win these games. Just like Georgia, Tennessee is really tough for me on Saturday. I'm leaning towards Georgia just because of home field advantage, really. So Michigan, Tennessee, the other matchup. Michigan in as the Big 10 champion and also an undefeated team. Tennessee getting in as an at-large, losing that one game to Georgia. So yes, an all SEC Big 10 playoff. I know a lot of people would be really happy with that. So let's move on to the rest of the New Year's 6 bowls. In the Rose Bowl, so that's going to bump Penn State up. They'll take the Big 10 spot since Ohio State and Michigan will be in the playoff. I still think Oregon's going to win the Pac-12. I think they're going to win the rest of their games. I don't see this team losing. I just don't. I think they're playing that well right now, and I think they will win out and win the Pac-12 championship. And I don't see Penn State losing another game. Some talk about maybe Illinois taking this spot. Look, Penn State's already ranked ahead of Illinois. Illinois is going to have to play Michigan and then possibly a Big 10 championship game. They're not going to pass Penn State. Even if Penn State were to lose one game, I don't know if Illinois would wind up ahead of them. So Penn State, I think, is definitely that number 3 team in the Big 10, and that would be the matchup there in the Rose Bowl. Again, if Michigan loses to Ohio State, then I think Michigan, they go here. If Ohio State loses but they don't make it into the playoff, you could see Ohio State here. And then I think other contenders out of the Pac-12 would be USC, UCLA. If Utah can beat Oregon, maybe they could even go on and win the Pac-12 as well. But that, I don't know if they're going to win that game on the road. So Oregon, Penn State, again, my pick in the Rose Bowl. In the Sugar Bowl, I've got TCU right now, but I tell you what, the way Kansas State played last week, I'm tempted to lean towards Kansas State to win the Big 12. Let's see how things play out this weekend, and maybe I'll change my pick. But TCU has been the best team in the Big 12, really playing good football, showing a lot of fight to come back in some of these games, and I just think they're going to find a way. I think they lose a game. I think they will lose one game, and maybe it's even Saturday. Who knows? But I think they'll bounce back and win the Big 12. If not them, I think it will be Kansas State, and then maybe TCU could take an at-large spot. It's kind of weird this year. There's only one at-large spot in the New Year's 6 because the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, those are 2 bowl games that normally take the at-large teams. Well, they're both playoff games. So there's not, when we get to the selection show at the end of the season and they announce all the bowls, there's not going to be much drama. You're really going to already know where every team is going to go because there are designated spots for each conference and all that. And then you'll just take that final at-large team. So really, you're going to know, I guess, every single New Year's 6 bowl before the committee or the selection show announces them. Once you see the rankings, you're going to know the bowl games, which is different. We don't normally have that. And again, both at-large both games that have at-large spots in both of their games, or both of their spots, are in the playoffs. So that's very, very different this year. And I think Alabama, look, I'm picking them to lose to LSU on Saturday. I may look pretty stupid, but I have a gut feeling. I just think the LSU matchup and playing in Death Valley is going to get LSU an upset victory. So Alabama finishes at 10-2, and that's going to put them in the Sugar Bowl again against TCU or maybe Kansas State. I'm really back and forth on those two teams. No Oklahoma, no Baylor. Wow, the Big 12 has not been played out how we thought it would. And then in the Orange Bowl, and don't count out Texas also in the Big 12. The Orange Bowl, so if Clemson loses a game, maybe to Notre Dame on Saturday, then that's going to knock them out of the playoff, but into the Orange Bowl if they win the ACC championship. Let's say they win go undefeated in the regular season, but then lose to North Carolina in the ACC championship. Then North Carolina would go to the Orange Bowl. Clemson would have to hope to get that final at-large spot, which they probably would if they were undefeated in the regular season. I think they definitely would. But yeah, I think Clemson still wins the ACC, loses one game to Notre Dame or maybe Louisville. Louisville looked really good last week. And then Ole Miss will be the team. So you have to take Notre Dame, a Big Ten, or an SEC. I think Ole Miss will still be ahead of Illinois. I think Ole Miss will lose to Alabama but win the rest of their games. So 10-2 record for them. And they're already setting up at number 11. I think they're going to be the highest-ranked SEC or Big Ten team. And the Rebels will go here to the Orange Bowl to face Clemson. And then in the Cotton Bowl, I still think Cincinnati is going to win the American, and they're going to be the highest-ranked Group of 5 champion. USC, I think, will be, because they only have one regular season loss, and then they have the one loss to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. That's how I have it playing out. So they would be the highest-ranked team to take an at-large spot. If Kansas State upset TCU in the Big 12 championship, and they went to the Sugar Bowl, then maybe TCU winds up in the Cotton Bowl. That is one way it could play out. But yeah, talking about Cincinnati, look, they get Tulane at home. I think they win that game. If they get UCF in the AAC championship, I think they will win a rematch. I think they're going to win out. I think they finished with 2 losses, so not quite the season they had last year, but still a really good year. People are, I think, kind of giving up on them because they lost to UCF. But no, I think the schedule plays out well for them. I think they bounce back and win the conference, and I still have Cincinnati making it into the Cotton Bowl. So a lot of different ways this could play out, a lot of different scenarios. But I tell you what, after this weekend, after Saturday, I think we're going to have a fairly clear idea of how things are going to play out the rest of the year. We're obviously still not going to know if Alabama wins and Georgia wins. We're not going to know who wins the SEC championship. We're not going to know who wins Michigan, Ohio State. But there aren't quite as many twists and turns. I think the paths for all the different scenarios will start to shrink, and they will get smaller and smaller, of course, as we go through the rest of the season and we figure out who these New Year's 6 teams will be. Would love to get your thoughts, your predictions. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.